Welcome to the 4K TV Chat Podcast. Every week, Steve breaks down the world of TV technology, the latest trends in audio and home entertainment. Here's your host, Tech Steve.
Today, we're going to talk about TV reliability. Now, when it comes to TV reliability, let me tell you a quick little story about that. I had a friend that bought a Toyota Corolla, and he absolutely loved that car. Later on, he moved over to a truck, and he bought a Toyota. Then, he bought his last car, which is a Prius, and he bought Toyota. Now, when it comes to reliability, I think it really comes down to something that you had in the past that you enjoyed. And now, when you go look for a new model, you're probably going to go with the brand that you had before. Now, with that story in mind, what is reliability? Well, I think it comes in all shapes and sizes. For example, you might have a bar that runs a television 7 days a week. No problem. This is going to take a lot of toll on the television. You might be one of these people who has a TV in their bedroom that you only use for a few hours out of the night. No problem. So there's different types of scenarios when it comes to reliability, and it's really based off a lot of different factors. Your electrical grid, the way you use your television, how often you use your television, but that's not really what you want to know. Which TV is the most reliable? And we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, I would say when it comes to TVs, there's generally three different types of televisions. There's LCD, there's mini LED, and there's OLED. Each of these television has a expected lifespan. And again, it goes back to the examples that I talked about earlier. Let's say LED. LED has been around for a very, very long time. In fact, most people still have LED televisions in their home. Now, there are some downsides of LED. For example, unless you buy a higher end one, you're probably not going to get what they call local dimming zones. You're probably not going to have this dark, black, deep, contrasty type of picture. But being that it's a basic television, I think most people have those TVs just because of price. If price is a factor, you definitely got to take that in consideration when you buy a TV and reliability. They have direct LED, which uses backlights, and this technology generally lasts for a very long time just because of the nature of the design of the television. The LEDs stay cool, and they generally last a lot longer than most televisions. The second one is called edge-lit televisions. Edge-lit televisions basically have LEDs that goes around the borders of the television, and it uses some technology to make sure that you get the best picture when it comes down to it. But the thing is, by using edge-lit technology for the manufacturers, it's cheaper to build. And the downside of it is because the heat is not like the direct LED, the heat generally catches up with it and causes failure rate at a alarming rate in comparison to your standard direct LED backlight. And then we have mini LED. The mini LED televisions are a lot more advanced. They have local dimming zones, so you're going to get better contrast ratio. The fact that the LEDs work a lot brighter, and overall, mini LED, my findings, are the most reliable televisions out on the market. Then we have what they called OLED televisions. Now, OLED televisions can be superior in the picture quality because the LEDs only turn on when needed, so that gives you the very best contrast ratio. The downside of it is, in the past, there's a thing called burn-in. Now, burn-in is if you watch something static all the time. For example, you're watching the news and you have a logo in the corner that sits there. You play a game, you go into pause mode and the icons stay on the screen. Those can cause burn-in. And what I've seen, LG has the best technology for burn-in that's possible. They do a feature called pixel shifting. And what that does is it basically shifts pixels around the screen so they're never static at any given moment, and this helps burn in. Now, when it comes down to it, I think you have to go back to the story of what you're used to. If you have Samsung and you had a great experience, I think you should stay with Samsung in a lot of cases. Now, there's a lot of different TV brands on the market, and there's really a lot of choices to be made, but I'm kind of like a firm believer. If you find something that works, kind of stick to it. Now, here's what's happening in the market. A lot of companies like Samsung and Sony, LG, they're sticking to their guns on their technology, and overall, those are very reliable televisions. But there's up-and-coming companies like TCL, Hisense, and even Panasonic. which is a better brand television. But the thing is that we don't know and we don't have the proper history to identify the real reliability, because a lot of times I look online and I see these chat rooms and things like that. People are talking about reliability mainly on older technology televisions. And right now, all these brands are up and coming. They're really taking the market by storm by offering so many more features and advancements, especially at the price point. So I think it's only a matter of time to see which TVs are real, reliable, and which ones are not. So what I'm going to tell you right now is that if you have any kind of concern about reliability, you may not want to hear this, but maybe you want to buy extended warranties. Extended warranties is going to allow you to have a peace of mind for a duration of time that if the TV or product that you buy is not reliable, then you'll have that peace of mind that you have someone in your corner to make sure that everything's going to get taken care of. Another thing about reliable products nowadays is you got to remember that 10, 15 years ago, when it comes to TVs, they used materials like metal. They had really heavy stands. In fact, I did a video on a plasma TV a while back that I found online, and it was a 10-year-old TV, and it weighed almost 80 pounds for a 50-inch. So can you imagine 65-inch TVs coming in at 36 pounds? So yes, the materials that they use have changed, but now we have computers and we have more advanced assembly lines. And at this point, I think it's all just a big question of only time will tell which TVs are more reliable. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks all for watching. I hope this helps you out. Have a good day. Peace.